Hey gang, John Baccarella here with your Lake St. Clair Fishing Report, brought to you by Sportsman's Direct. It is Wednesday, May 15th. Water temp at Belle Isle is 59 degrees, so it's up a full 3 degrees from the last report, which was really not even quite a week ago. I think we did it like on a Friday night last week. So yeah, up 3 degrees, and along the my roads, I'm sure it's much warmer than that. Probably mid 60s now. Because we're starting to see quite a bit of a difference, I'm sure, between what you got out there in that main flow coming out of the St. Clair River and what you've got down in along around the edges of St. Clair. So we'll say mid 60s on the mile roads. I guess probably the biggest news this week, and it's not a lot of news, is going to be the fact that the weather looks like it's going to behave itself. Finally, it looks like we're going to get maybe a really nice weekend with just kind of moderate winds. But anyway, so the forecast is kind of the big news, is that we're going to should be a really nice weekend. Warm temps, light winds. You guys that want to chase smallies will be able to go do that. The guys that want to chase wallies will be able to go do that. And we shouldn't get too beat up out there on Lake St. Clair other than pleasure boat traffic, which will start to increase now. But yeah, so that's the big news this week, is that we're just going to have decent weather for a change where we can get out and do what we enjoy doing, and that's go fishing. So shout out real quick out to Becky and Ken Frank. I think Ken got what we call a birthday muskie out in front of the spillway. I think it was late last week, probably right after I did the report. So yeah, there's muskies out there in front of the spillway. There's muskies all along the mile roads right now. And muskie season opens the first Saturday in June. So we only got a couple of weeks before muskie season actually opens up. So anyways, a shout out to you two. Thanks for sending the pictures. We always love to see pictures from all you folks out there, and we just enjoy seeing them and sharing your love of the outdoors. So let's talk about smallies really quick here. We probably missed some of the best, for you guys that like fishing on the beds, we probably missed some of the best fishing already. I mean, we had a lot of crazy weather, we had a lot of dirty water, and a lot of you guys that like to go in and sight fish, you probably really missed it this year. You're still going to have some opportunities for that, but I think the bulk of the fish are pretty much done. We probably got more post-spawn fish and actively spawning fish, and a lot fewer pre-spawn fish. And even the guides that I follow, like Garrett Samsel and Joe Bauer with Smallmouth Heaven Guide Service, they're still finding some big fish out there for their clients. But I know it's getting tougher and tougher every time they go out. And don't get me wrong, Lake St. Clair is really cool in the fact that the spawn for these smallies probably lasts about a month. So you got different temperatures all around the lake, and so you got fish at different stages all the time until that spawn is complete. And it's not uncommon to see fish still spawning going into June. So there's still going to be spawning fish out there, but the bulk of the spawn, I think, is really done. The walleye bite is on fire still, and the walleye bite is good just about everywhere. So they're killing fish on the Detroit River, the St. Clair River, and pretty much all points in between, and that includes Lake St. Clair. And I talked about, you could almost go back and just listen to the report I did last week. Really nothing much has changed, except, like I said, the weather is going to be a whole heck of a lot better. But they're still catching fish out there for the guys that were able to get out this week in between the crazy, wind shifts and blows that we had and storms and everything. They're still getting fish from the point at, I was going to say the point at Metro all the way down to the 400 Club, but actually you can probably start fishing right as soon as you come out of Harley, out in that mud line out there. There's fish right out there too, so you really probably don't have to go more than a couple of hundred yards out of Harley Ensign, the boat launch there at South River Road, to start catching walleyes, and then down all along in front of the beach, and then down past the spillway. So there's fish all over the place. I'm sure there's a pile of fish down by the dumping grounds. And then you got the whole Canadian side that's loaded with fish too. And I'm sure that's where a lot of the guys that are fishing the tournament this weekend are going to head, is going to be over to that Canadian side for probably some better quality of fish. although there's still some pretty darn good quality fish out there in front of the beach. And if the mud lines and the water clarity sets up like I think it's going to, there's going to be a lot of fish caught out there too this weekend. So the key out here is water color. You want to fish that green water. If you're in real clear water, you're not going to be catching fish. And that water color, those areas, like they're kind of like, or I call them mud lines if you want to call them that, but these mud lines are going to move around depending on the currents that are flowing around the area and on the wind, okay? So you really want to pay attention to what's happening with that water color. These fish will stay right in that greenish colored water. And you'd be amazed how much that water will move around. But if you pay attention to it, you're going to stay on those fish. You're going to stay on the active fish, okay? And that's the name of the game. And if you get a fish or you pick up a couple of fish, hit that waypoint button on your GPS and then make another pass, turn around and come back through them. And if you're running planer boards, try to position yourself so that you're running those boards through the fish instead of running the boat through the fish. Because that's one of the other things that happens out here too, is when we start getting a lot of traffic and there's going to be a lot of boats out there trolling for walleyes, when those boats just go directly over those fish, it'll tend to shut those fish down a lot of times, especially if you're in marginally cleaner water. Okay, if you're in that dirtier water, they can handle a lot more pressure, but it's always a good idea to try to brush the edges of those schools of fish so that you can keep them active and keep them in the same spot a lot longer. I know a lot of you guys are trolling with electric trolling motors now, and that works to your advantage. It creates a lot less noise. But for the guys that are kind of old school in it with the gas trolling engines, or maybe they're running their big motors and they're running something to slow themselves down, all that noise running directly over those fish, especially in cleaner water conditions, will really shut that bite down a lot faster than if you kind of skirt the edges and run your boards over that school of fish as opposed to taking the whole boat over the school of fish. So. And I know that's a lot easier said than done, and that's definitely not walleye trolling 101. That's probably more advanced. But anyways, that's kind of my advice. If you can do that, then do it, and you'll pull more fish out of that school before that school busts up or goes down and turns negative on you. Should talk a little bit about shoreline or shore fishing opportunities. And I don't give out exact spots unless they're like really, really public spots. But the shore activity around the store has definitely picked up for walleyes. Places like South River Road, the Lake St. Clair Metro Park, and I would think Blossom Heath, although it sounds like Blossom Heath, they're kicking you out before the bite actually gets going in the evening. They're shutting it down too early. But any of those shore access points are going to be producing walleyes right now with as many fish as we have out in the area along the American shoreline. Pretty much every shore access spot you have that's in decent depth water, and at night decent depth water can only be a couple of feet. If there's food there for those eyes, they'll come in really shallow at night, and now's your time to score fish. So if you're in the area around the shop here, the Metro Park and Harley are definitely places that you can target for those eyes at night. Now, St. Clair River and the Detroit River. Detroit River's got quite a bit of opportunity that's opened up down there as well. And I know everybody doesn't want to go into downtown Detroit at night, but there's some great fishing opportunities down there for the guys that are willing to go down there and do a little homework and figure things out. The same can be said for up there on the St. Clair River. Now, the St. Clair River, what I would advise for you guys to do, there is a lot of access up there, and there's a lot of spots. So just go up on your first trip up there. If you haven't been up there, leave a little bit early, get up there before prime time, drive around and do a little research. Use your phone, look at the access points, look at the parking, get out, talk to people, find out, who fishes where, and if there's guys that are setting up for that evening bite. Do some homework and then plan your next adventure out there after you've done all that homework. If you drive up there just at night in the dark, looking to score and to figure out a spot and to do parking and all that at the last minute, you're probably going to be a little disappointed. So maybe go up on like a Friday night, do your homework, and then go up Saturday night and fish, or go up the following weekend. That bite up there is going to go for a long time. So it's going to go on and off kind of all summer. It's going to kind of move around up there. But So that's my advice to you, is go up there and learn. I'm not going to give out like this spot or that spot or this park or that park. I don't want everybody, we reach way too many people, and I don't want everybody piling in on any one given spot like that. So, but go up, do your homework. That's part of the fun, is learning these spots and figuring out how to fish them. So, you know, that's what it's all about, it's not just the catching, it's that whole experience of doing that. And when I was talking about how lousy the weather has been, there are some guys out there like Mike Martin that really likes to make lemonade out of lemons. And he was having a lousy day out there, and they went into one of his favorite spots and just pounded a bunch of really high quality bluegills and pumpkin seeds. So it just kind of shows you that, you know, Lake St. Clair is not a one-trick pony. I mean, there is a lot of fishing opportunity out there, whether it's bluegills, pumpkin seeds, perch, smallies, muskies, walleye. There's everything out there. Big northerns. You never know what you're going to get when you're out here on St. Clair. I just mentioned perch, so I thought I'd bring this up too. It sounds like that perch bite over there in that 21 feet of water, 20 plus feet of water off of the Bassett may have slowed down, and I'd be interested to go back and look at my old fishing report, or last year's fishing reports, and see when that died. But I think that went all the way till June, just about out there last year. So I'm going to guess that they're still going on, but it sounds like the guys are having a little bit tougher time zeroing in on those fish out there, at least in the last couple of days. That may change again with the better weather conditions, right? Because we didn't have good weather for these guys to be out there hunting those fish down out in that deep water. So maybe somebody's or a group of guys are going to get back on them again and start pounding them. But it did sound like that did slow down out there, at least got tougher. But again, may just be the weather. So anyways, great weather coming in for the next several days once we get past this little bit of rain on Friday. And get out there, enjoy it, take advantage of all the fishing opportunities out there on Lake St. Clair. Hey gang, if you like our content, hit the little subscribe button and the bell icon, and you'll be notified as soon as we put out new stuff.